Hi there, welcome to my channel once again. So, I'm going to talk about my journey to do with eczema. Interested? Everyone's got their own different journey and their own different experiences when it comes to eczema. We're all unique and we've all got our different things to share. And I'm really excited to share about my journey, talking about my ups and talking about my downs as well. So for those of you who've not seen my channel before, my name is Trudy and I'm the founder of Deeper Than Eczema. So Deeper Than Eczema is a blog where I write about myself and my personal experience with eczema, but also talk about mental health and basically confidence and how to deal with our skin mentally as well as physically. So moving on to my journey, which by the way, there is going to be a written blog post coming out about this in a few weeks' time. I do have a journey blog post already. That was done a while ago and things have happened in between then. So an updated journey post is going to be coming out as well as this video. So my journey. What is my eczema journey? So basically, when I was a child and also in my teens, I didn't really have eczema. In fact, I didn't have it at all. I just had dry skin. My skin just used to be really, really dry. And I just got by with aqueous cream, basically. It wasn't until I was about 19, going on to 20 years old, where one day randomly I had this dry black patch on my right foot, on the instep. And it was very weird. It was like a circle, the size of a coin, probably the size of a 2p piece, which just came up, and it was really weird. And I do remember visiting a GP who just gave, I think it was Dactacort cream at the time, just to put on it. But all of a sudden, it spread from my right foot on that area onto the other foot, and then came all the way up to my knees. So basically, I had eczema knee downwards. So this was back in 2006. Oh, now if you're really smart, you've probably worked out my age now. Never mind. I'm going to be moving on. That doesn't matter. Anyway, so the following year, I was referred to my GP. Basically, you know, what am I going to do about this eczema? It's come up on my leg. It's got really bad. And around that time, actually, I went through redundancy at work and I went through a major flare-up as well, where I had weeping skin, knee downwards onto the leg as well. So basically, I needed something. I needed help, and I needed help fast. And I was lucky because I then was referred to a dermatologist who then suggested to do UVB light treatment. So for those of you who don't know what it is, UVB light treatment is basically, it's a bit like going into a stun bed basically, but you're standing up. So it's basically an ultra light treatment where it shines onto the body and it's meant to calm down and improve eczema symptoms. And it does involve, annoyingly, going to the hospital 3 times a week to have this done, and it's over a period of 2 to 3 months. Basically, they monitor you. So when I was having this light treatment at the time, back in 2007, luckily, I wasn't actually working at the time because I just lost my job. So, you know, getting by and getting out of work was basically easy because I didn't have a job at the time. So that basically, it didn't 100% cure the eczema, but it was just fine. So I went on about my life. Sometimes I had a bit of an odd flare up. Then I'd be given this cream. Then I'd be given that cream. If it was infected, then I'd be taking flucloxacillin antibiotics. So that was basically it. And then, so basically I just went on and plodded along with life, but also was very, very conscious about my skin. So back then, I wouldn't wear a skirt, wasn't happening. So I did struggle when it came to summertime. There were certain clothes that I just would not wear. It just wasn't happening, basically. Then, 2011, I was at university in my final year. I was doing my dissertation and I went through basically the worst flare up ever. I don't even know, and I have no idea how I even managed to get through and submit a dissertation back then. I think back then I was an autopilot. I must have been Superwoman to manage to have done that. So basically, on the legs, the eczema was so bad. My skin was cracked, and I actually remember that I couldn't wear any tight clothes because my clothes would just stick. And I couldn't wear any flat shoes because anything flat would just crack my skin. So I had to wear a shoe with a little bit of a heel. And back then, those were the days, you know, when it comes studying and college and university, where you don't submit your assignments online like you do now. Back then, you had to physically go onto campus and submit it paper copy by hand. And yeah, I remember literally submitting this dissertation with my skin cracked as ever, handing this piece of work in. That was probably one of the stressful times in my life. And yeah, obviously I did pass and I did graduate, so it's all good. So then after that, the following year, it might have been the following year actually, or might have been the year after that, when things calmed down, and then I tried doing the wet wrap bandages. So for those who don't know what it is, wet wrap bandages basically is where you cover your skin with a cream and an ointment, and then you have it's a bandage which is a white bandage which is specially prescribed by a GP or a specialist, which you have to wrap in a certain way around your leg or wherever the eczema is, and then another layer of a bandage which is normally a beige bandage which is dry, then goes around the leg. So that can be kept on overnight or it could be worn during the day. Basically it just depends. And what that does is that basically locks in the moisture so the skin doesn't become dry. That was actually effective because the eczema did actually calm down in that area. And then the following year, basically things had calmed down and I was discharged. So back then was around the time basically similar to now, where it's just small patches around my ankles and my foot. So I was alright, and you know, I got by once again. Then another few years went by, and got to 2015, and this is where things started to go downhill once again. So got to 2015, and at that point I was stressed because I had issues with accommodation where I was living with. I had to find somewhere ASAP to live because my landlord put the house up for sale. So it was a bit of a stressful time really. And I literally just started a new job, and I was trying my best not to allow my circumstance to affect the new job I was in at the time. So financially, I knew I was fine. I wasn't going to obviously lose the job, but obviously I needed to focus in that new job and find somewhere to live at the same time. So that caused stress and that caused anxiety in myself, which caused another flare up once again, believe it or not. And at that point, I wasn't with a dermatologist, so it meant going back to the GP and it meant asking for another referral. And oh my gosh, that palaver was a whole heap of drama trying to get back onto the list with dermatology again. Yeah, that took a long time. But yeah, things went worse again because the house I was living in had damp. That affected all of my skin, that affected my hair. That was where I developed eczema onto my scalp. And over time, my hair was affected and I lost all of my hair. And while waiting to see a dermatologist, I was prescribed a steroid tablet by GP, which I think is called prednisone, something along the word of that. I will put the name of that tablet into the description once I've got the spelling properly. So I apologise that I wasn't able to pronounce that properly, but I will put that in there. So yeah, I took that, and then yeah, about 2 weeks later, skin was great. It was smooth. I looked a bit dark though. It was smooth, it was fine, I looked great. And then a week later, I don't know what happened, but my whole entire body filled up with flakes. From head to toe, flakes. Flakes was everywhere. And when I mean everywhere, it was everywhere. All over the house. I had to vacuum every day. It was in the car. It was ridiculous. And then not only that, I actually lost loads of weight. I actually lost about probably 2 stone in weight. Whether that was down to the medication, whether that was down to stress, that was still unknown. And again, it meant going back to a GP and having all these tests on why I lost a load of weight. To this day, I don't know why I lost a load of weight. Really, I should have been happy that I lost a load of weight. But I had a lot of comments from people that I know saying, oh my gosh, Trudy, you've lost loads of weight. You look really gaunt in your face. You don't look right at all. So maybe it wasn't a good thing I lost a load of weight. Unfortunately, all of that weight's come back on. So I'm more or less back to how I was before I lost all of that weight. Anyway, moving on. So, finally got through and saw a dermatologist. This would have been sometime in 2016. So, finally got round to it, and basically there wasn't that much help. There wasn't that fantastic at all. Just said, you know, the skin's really bad. And I remember one time I walked out of there crying because I just thought that it was just absolutely terrible. So, managed to find new accommodation, managed to calm down. And then the following year, I actually worked out that the environment where you work can also have an effect on the skin. So, in this particular workplace, I was working on the 10th floor of a building. Windows couldn't open. There was no natural air, nothing like that. And I worked out that that was also irritating my skin as well. So it led to dryness in my face. It led to dryness on the rest of my body, which led to more flare-ups. Then the following year, I left that role. Well, I didn't actually leave that role. I went on a 1-year secondment where I was working on a different site. And oh my gosh, there was a difference. I realised that being in that particular office affected my skin big time, because when I was out of there, things improved. And then I was suggested by the dermatologist again to try the UVB light treatment once again. So I tried that once again, and I was actually lucky. I actually had an advantage where basically it was easy peasy for me to go in 3 times a week before work. So I was at a huge advantage back then. So at that point, again, it didn't 100% cure the eczema, but it was at bay and it was under control. So again, just got on with my life, got on with managing eczema, the physically, the mentally. And then roll on 2020. You know, I actually hate saying the year 2020. Everybody knows what happened in 2020. Anyway, I don't even have to say the word, because we just know what happened in 2020. So 2020 came, and in fact the eczema was all right. It actually wasn't too bad when the pandemic started, but I had a lot of anxiety in general just about COVID and the pandemic, which I'm sure a lot of people have. And I'm somebody who really doesn't do well or cope well when it comes to sudden changes. And if you was to speak to anyone close to me, any of my best mates, any like that, they'll just say straight away, oh yeah, Trudy doesn't do well change. She don't like change. You know, she likes a routine. That's exactly the comment that will come out. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, mentally, you know, COVID, the pandemic did actually affect me a lot, big time, mentally. Just being at home, not going anywhere, not seeing any family, but just moving back onto eczema, I was actually okay. The masks, they were a pain. Some of them gave me a rash around my mouth. Some of them aggravated my asthma. So I had to be careful only to wear certain masks. And I actually found that the ones without, what's the word? I've gone a bit blank now. Basically, it was a certain type of mask. There's a certain type of masks that I was able to wear and I was okay. Latex, that's it, that's the word. So, latex-free masks were the masks during that time period where I was okay. And then I had COVID twice. So I had COVID in January 21 and March 2022. So the first time I had it, yeah, knocked me out big time. Yeah, I didn't do anything for 2 weeks. That was just to lay down in bed and watch Netflix, basically. So then I did have flare up where I had patches all over my skin. I'm assuming that was just down to the illness, and you know, the same thing happened the second time round, but it wasn't as bad and wasn't severe. So during those time frames, you know, when I was ill with COVID, it did aggravate things. And, you know, I was just told by the GP, well, it's just because you got COVID, you know, once it goes, you know, it will calm down. And I was actually right, it actually did calm down after that, actually. So to this present day, it's only there again on the ankles and around my foot area. So right now things are actually calm and it's good at the moment. I did have patches around my calves which have seemed to have disappeared over the last couple of months. I'm actually happy about that, and I'm not sure why that's happened. It could be down to a potential turmeric soap which I've been using since July, so probably about 2 months ago. Why that could be the case, not entirely sure. Worth doing a bit of investigating on that. So that's more or less where I'm at the moment. I will be doing another video about products that I've used, what have helped, what I think's not helped, reviewing the products. So that's something which I'll be talking about in the near future. So that is my eczema journey, and I had no idea that, you know, I can sit here and talk for almost 20 minutes about my eczema journey, but hey, I've done it. Here we go. So I'm going to leave it there, and when the blog post comes out about my journey, I'm also going to put this video onto that as well, and I'll also post the link. So I'll put the link for the blog onto that as well, and once I've got the spelling for that tablet I took back in 2016, I'll also put that in the description as well. So yeah, I'm going to wrap things up there. Thank you very much for watching my video and listening to me talk about my journey. And if you want to find out more, well, not if you want to find out more, I'm hoping that you're interested and you've enjoyed listening to my journey. Social media channels are below. Click to subscribe to the channel, and you can also subscribe to the blog, where, by the way, if you subscribe to my blog, I can give you a free eczema tracker. There you go. So there you go, you get a little freebie there, a little incentive for you. Thank you very much for watching my video and for listening to me talk about my journey. Really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos. Take care and stay blessed.